Hey everyone, Brian Zane here, and I am rejoined by the one and only J Biggs. Biggs, you ain't a nomad, no mo. You are off the road trip and back here in Reno for the time being, correct?
Right.
What was it like? You were pretty much going up and down California for a few months, it seemed.
Absolutely. I mean, it was just a fun family trip, pretty much, is what it turned into. But a little bit of normality now, back in good old Reno, USA, and hanging out here with my buddies. So now I guess I'm going to be back on Wrestling with Regret a little bit more, so hopefully you like it.
And everyone's a winner.
Right.
We are here to talk about SummerSlam 2018 predictions. It's a very stacked card. There are some rematches from Extreme Rules from the previous month, so some of the novelty of that is kind of gone. But there's a lot. I think there's some twists and tweaks to these matches that make them a little more compelling to watch. Maybe you want to watch it. Let's begin with the mixed tag team match in the pre-show. You've got LANA and RUSEV versus Zelina Vega and Andrade Cien Almas. For weeks now, we've seen this thing where Almas and Vega have got the leg up on the collective of Rusev Day, mostly due to Aiden English's, his well-intentioned actions that wind up backfiring. What do you think about the storyline so far?
I love the storyline they're showing. It's actually kind of compelling as far as, what they're doing. I'm not as excited as Rusev is that they're on the pre-show necessarily. But, I do kind of wish that match would be featured on the regular card and something else bumped. But we could talk about that later.
Well, yeah, some matches have to be sacrificed for the greater good of the 2-hour godforsaken pre-show.
Right.
So what are your thoughts? Who do you think's going to win this matchup?
Hopefully Rusev. I like Almas, but I think Rusev right now is still on a little bit of a roll. Let's not try to kill him off. And Almas, I think, would be good eventually as well on the top of the card. But I think right now his role on Smackdown is kind of mid-card. That's just my opinion.
Right. Well, I think I'm going to go against you here. I'm going to pick Almas and Vega to win the match here. Probably due to some more chicanery and shenanigans. Accidental or otherwise, by Aiden English, just to continue the narrative of what they're going on with Aiden and his trouble in paradise, so to speak. No pun intended for the New Day, but just his issues with Rusev and Lana right now.
Right.
Lana and her ever-fluctuating Russian accent. So, all right, well, in the first match out the gate, we are already at odds. Well, this is awkward. The other pre-show match is going to be for the Cruiserweight Championship as Cedric Alexander defends against Drew Gulak. Now, Biggs, I've been a naughty boy. I have to admit, I've been very bad. I have not watched one iota of 205 Live. What you say? And now that they don't put little previews of it on Raw anymore, I have no idea what's going on in the storyline. What about you?
Well, I don't either, and usually I would hit up somebody like R. Felix Finch to find out. But, no, I don't have any clue what's going on as far as 205 Live, other than I'm seeing good reports about the wrestling.
Yes, I've heard nothing but good things about 205 Live over the last several months. And, it sounds great. I'm very happy for them, and I'm going to let them finish. But it's just something that I haven't had time to watch and follow. So, really, I'm going into this match kind of blind. If I had to make a prediction based on absolutely no context, I would just, knowing how long Cedric has had the belt for, maybe it's time for a change of the guard. So I would predict that Drew Gulak is going to become the new Cruiserweight Champion. What do you think?
As far as my prediction, I have no clue. I would just have to say that it's probably going to be Cedric Alexander. He seems to be on the roll as of late.
Our third advertised pre-show match is for the Raw Tag Team titles as the B team of Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel take on the Revival. Now, as of late, the B team have been on a roll. They've been winning match after match after match, an ungodly unbeaten streak, the likes of which we haven't seen since, Asuka even. But now they are taking on possibly their biggest challenge as champions, going against Dash and Dawson. What are your thoughts on this angle?
Well, I think it was Dash or Dawson. I'm not sure which one the other day tweeted this is the biggest match of his career, and I think it is actually if they could pull this off and win the belts. Although I'm just not seeing that right now. For some reason, the Revival just still isn't up there, in my opinion, as far as who they want to push. I think that the B team is kind of on a roll right now, actually, for the first time, and they should roll with that because what else are they going to do with them but put them back down on the card? Yeah,
I think now's not the time to to drop the belts off the B team just yet.
Right.
And I agree with you that like the Revival, it's nice the idea of them winning the titles is nice. I just don't know if it's going to happen yet because I feel the build for them at this point has not been as fleshed out, let's say, as the B team when they were making their way to the tag team belts. So I'm going to agree with you, Jay, and say the B team will retain here at SummerSlam. Where we go with the tag title team from here, now that especially that Matt and Bray are no longer a team and Matt's taking time off TV and retiring, who knows what the official word is at this point. When he's speaking in code on Twitter, you really have no idea. Right. So what we're seeing with them, of course, they're out. What the rest of the tag team scene looks like. I mean, maybe they'll put AOP up in the upper echelon after that valiant feud they've been having with Titus Worldwide for the last few weeks. Moving on to Finn Balor versus Constable Corbin. You know, I was into this match at Extreme Rules. I liked their rematch on Raw 2 weeks later better. In fact, I think it was a better match. So now I'm just kind of like, where can you go from this? It's like the classic rubber match thing they got going on, but I just don't care about this angle.
Right. I don't think anybody honestly cares about this angle other than WWE.
I feel bad for Finn because, you know, he deserves better than this. You know, he still hasn't been given.
You sound like an internet mark from 2 years ago, Brian.
Yeah, I know. He's the answer to everything, but he still hasn't been given any kind of match toward the Universal Championship. Right. There's a long line of people who are waiting for their rematch, as long as Lesnar's still the champion. And, you know, Corbin, like I said, who wore better this week? He is a feckless authority figure. He has absolutely no authority, even though he tries to push himself as something. And, like, I get that as a comedy angle, someone who thinks they're an authority figure and they're completely just toothless.
Right.
But they're trying to take him seriously and portray him as this kind of bully character, but he has no clout. So what are the stakes in this one is my biggest question. I just don't know anymore.
There's no stakes at all, really. It's just going to be, I mean, they're two decent performers. We're going to have a decent match.
One far more decent than the other, let's be honest.
Right.
I pick Finn to win this match. What do you think?
Yeah, Finn.
Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens, man. If Braun loses in any capacity, pinfall, submission, disqualification, countout, whatever, Kevin will claim the Money in the Bank briefcase and use it as his very own. What's your thoughts on this storyline so far?
I don't know. I'm kind of meh on it, only because I like Kevin Owens and I like Braun Strowman, but I don't really like what they've done with Braun Strowman since WrestleMania, honestly. That's just my opinion. Yeah. And Kevin Owens, you know, is a great heel. But I don't know, for some reason, I guess I don't like having that big face versus the smaller heel. I don't know, it's just a weird dynamic.
It can be done effectively. It is not always done effectively, but when it does work, it's great. I think the biggest issue for me with Kevin Owens right here is it's such a far departure from where he was this time last year as a character.
Right.
Like he's supposed to be kind of like, he's supposed to be a sadistic, calculating individual, and here he's just a coward, you know. And you can be a cowardly heel, that's fine, but I feel it's such a huge departure from the character we saw just a few months ago that it's like, this is not the same Kevin Owens that we've seen. It's had some pretty funny moments, like, you know, Braun tormenting Kevin Owens at times. Has been entertaining, but yeah, it's really hard to feel sympathy after a while when Kevin at some point does nothing wrong and he still gets destroyed by Braun Strowman.
I almost have to wonder, see, what would have made sense to me, I get it, you know, Sami Zayn's out, you know, so like I could see Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus Braun Strowman. That would actually be interesting to me because it would seem more realistic in a weird way. But I don't know. I almost feel like Kevin Owens is better with somebody.
Yeah.
You know, where he's better with Sami Zayn whether Jericho.
Yeah, whether it's a partner or a rival that's like somewhere to his equal.
Right.
And I think it's better than this little man, big man thing that they currently have going on. So, Biggs, who do you got in this matchup here? Who will walk away with the briefcase at the end of the match?
I'm going to go with Braun Strowman still.
Okay. I think the way they've booked this match and the way they've told this story, it's like there's a likelihood that Kevin Owens will win and walk away with the briefcase somehow. There's a part of me that thinks they're not going to pull the trigger on that, though, that Braun's going to keep it. But I'm just going to go, I'm going to be the contrarian here. I'm going to say Kevin Owens wins. Find some way by hook or by crook to win here and steal and yank the briefcase away from Braun's beefy hands. U.S. title match as Shinsuke Nakamura defends his title against Jeff Hardy in a rematch from Extreme Rules. Someone who should be in this match officially, but isn't, but probably will still play a factor in this thing, is Randy Orton. But let's talk about that in a minute and just stick with Jeff and Shinsuke. I was always under the impression, when I heard the rumors and everything at Extreme Rules last month, it was a super short match because they needed to take the belt off of Jeff so he'd be written off for his back injury hiatus. But he's been working almost every week since Extreme Rules on TV, so what exactly is the story here? Yeah. You know, the way they booked that match at Extreme Rules, I thought it was perfect, whatever, and then since then he's just been working and working. He's been hitting swanton after swanton. So really, what's the truth? Where does the truth lie here?
I remember working with TNA in 2012, and the guy was putting ice on his back after every match.
Yeah, sure.
So, I mean, like, obviously he's had back issues for a long time, but if this is something nagging, I don't know why, with all the star power right now that they have, WWE would continue to drag out something with him. I mean, really, they're overcrowded right now, almost, you know? So it's like, push somebody else. I get it, you know?
I feel it's going to be too much like the rematch on Smackdown that happened right after Extreme Rules, where it's going to end with some wacky shit where Orton gets involved and Shinsuke retains. My pick to win the match is Shinsuke Nakamura. But Orton will be involved somehow, and, you know, I think it's just going to be kind of a repeat. So
Yeah,
what do you think?
It'd be dumb to take the belt this quick off of Shinsuke. I'd say just get it, you know, let's keep it on him.
So now, like, where do we go from here? Is Orton just going to write Jeff off for a while, and then they have a feud later? Or is it going to be Orton Hardy for weeks and weeks, and then something happens? Because, like, with Orton doing this new character, it's cool, but I'd like to see him branch out beyond Jeff Hardy and act this way toward other people.
He could almost, I mean, if you think about it, Brian, I've talked about this before, he could have that next Stone Cold vibe to him. And what I mean by that is that guy who just comes out and kicks everybody's ass out
indiscriminate
of
of face or heel.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, kind of that tweener, you know. And if he came out and raised enough fuss, I think it'd be a little bit more of an interesting character.
I mean, there's a lot of people you could kind of book in that spot right now. There's Samoa Joe as well. Somebody tweeted me today saying, "Oh, would it be cool if they were booked like Stone Cold?" Like, there's a lot of people who think should be the next Stone Cold. That's never going to happen, but you know, it's fun to dream. Moving on to the Intercontinental Championship match, as Dolph Ziggler with Drew McIntyre in his corner takes on Seth Rollins with the returning Dean Ambrose in his corner. Which, you know, and we talk about how the month of rematches, how so many matches here are rematches from Extreme Rules. At least this one is a little more interesting because now you got the wild card of Dean Ambrose involved, how he's going to play into the finish. He probably will. So, you know, but what are your thoughts on the angle so far? How they've gone from their beginnings to Extreme Rules to the new wrinkle of Dean Ambrose to now?
Well, it heated up on Monday, that's for sure. You know, with Ambrose coming back, you know, looking like Triple H from 2000, whatever, 12 or something. But anyway, regardless of that, it's great to have Ambrose back, and I think that this feud, you know, as I'm saying, is going to get better now with him. But I'm kind of surprised that they didn't just make it a tag team match, maybe, where the belt can exchange hands no matter who's pinned. Kind of gives it a few more angles they could go towards. Or I'm just surprised they didn't hold off on Ambrose returning until the pay-per-view. And, you know, getting that pop at SummerSlam, like, oh my God, he's back.
Well, and they want to draw people to SummerSlam, hypothetically.
Right.
So I can see why they gave it away on Monday on the Go Home show. And my first thought before Ambrose was coming back, I wanted to see a fatal four-way. I think it was like with Seth, Dolph, Drew, and like Finn as the fourth guy. But, you know, I think with in this way they have it now, I'm intrigued by it. You know, I've been saying for months, Dean's gonna turn on Seth at some point, and in my head, I believe the rationale is going to be that Dean will hold it against Seth that he got hurt, because like, why weren't you there for me when Samoa Joe kicked my arm or whatever? So like, that's kind of my train of thought, and so my prediction is that Dean is going to cost Seth the match at SummerSlam. Dolph will retain, and we'll go into our Dean and Seth feud that people have been speculating about for a long time. And what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that is very possible, but I'm 50-50 on that. And, you know, wondering, because, I mean, what do they do with Dean? Is it just him and Seth going off? Do they do anything with Dolph and Drew being part
Dolph
of that?
will probably
or do
just
you
go
think
his own thing.
Okay, because I was wondering, like, would they maybe make some sort of a faction with Drew and Dolph and Dean? That was one of my thoughts, like, you know, these angry guys or something, you know. But
3 angry Ds, Drew, Dolph, and Dean. Do you think Rollins is going to win?
Yeah, I think Rollins is going to win. I think he's going to, you know, get the belt. It's going to be all good for him.
All right. SmackDown tag title match as the Bludgeon Bros defend against the New Day. I am not really invested in this storyline because, like, they've not done a very good job building conflict between the two teams. It's just been the Bludgeon Brothers beating up jobbers for the last several weeks, and the New Day doing their own thing, you know, completely irrelevant of what the Bludgeons are doing.
Right.
So I just think it's time to take the belts off the Bludgeon Brothers. I'm sick of seeing them with the belts and doing nothing with it. I mean, I like the idea of a dominant tag team, don't get me wrong, but when all you're doing is putting them in cupcake matches against local talent, and you're giving them these names like Triple Threat and whatever. What was the thing they did the week before? It was like something else that was invoking, like 3SK, something like that. You know, invoking these other stables and wrestling terminology. Like, it's a kind of a ha-ha, wink, nudge kind of thing. But let's give them to a real team. So, I mean, as annoying as it is to see the New Day as champions again, I want to see the New Day as champions again.
I could see these guys maybe facing a team like AOP and it making sense, because they're bigger. But yeah, it's just been so dominant and overbearing the last few months. We knew at Mania what was coming. That was like, duh. That was all set up for them. But I don't know. I mean, I still think that WWE is going to go with Bludgeon Brothers. I'm not sure how it's all going to work out. Maybe even they do something crazy with Bray again. I mean, they kind of have a look still.
Yeah.
That they could, especially with Bray Wyatt evolving. So who knows? Maybe that could happen.
Maybe he'll become Bray Bludgeon. Staying with SmackDown, we're going to go to the Women's Championship, the triple threat match. Carmella defending against Becky Lynch and the returning Charlotte Flair. The story here has not been so much like how will Carmella keep her championship. It's basically how will Becky and Charlotte coexist. And basically, we're all kind of waiting for a heel turn of some kind. Is Charlotte going to turn on Becky? Is Becky going to turn on Charlotte? Somebody be turning heel on Sunday. And right. Carmella's already heel, so who do you got, basically?
I don't know. I mean, maybe Becky. And here's why, is because, obviously Ellsworth's gone. So yeah. I don't know where that's going with Carmella. I mean, I still like her character. I think she's a great worker. I have heard rumor that Evolution is going to, have Becky versus Flair, as the main event. I had heard that. So maybe that's where they're going. And Becky kind of, maybe, Charlotte gets the win kind of, but Becky pushes her out and scores the pinfall or something kind of thing,
So you think Becky will win?
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm definitely thinking Becky's going to step out as the champion.
Okay, well, I think it's going to be Charlotte turning heel and becoming the new women's champion. And I think that it basically just comes down to history. I think Becky Lynch is too likable to turn heel. And, I mean, it's like, there's people who turn heel and it doesn't work out because people can't buy into it. And Becky's one of those people I just can't buy as a heel right now. Even though she was for a little bit in NXT, but I think her personality is too affable. But Charlotte has the experience of being a heel. I think she's better being a heel than a face.
Oh, yeah.
So I think this will be the chance for her to turn on Becky and out of necessity. Because she sees how strong and how straight the fire is of Becky Lynch as she saw on SmackDown. Right. And so now she needs to turn it up a bit and just get that edge to, just as a precaution, to make sure Becky doesn't win with the championship. Right. So my pick is Charlotte. You say Becky. We agree Carmella's not winning the championship here. But I like the idea of it building to a match with Charlotte and Becky at Evolution. But I think the narrative would work better if Charlotte was the heel champion.
Absolutely, I do agree with that. But I'm still just, for some reason, I'm feeling Becky right now. It's her time to shine.
Moving on to the Raw Women's Championship match, probably one of the more high-profile, newsworthy, mainstream newsworthy parts of the event, I should say, as Ronda Rousey challenges Alexa Bliss for the championship. We've seen Ronda wrestle in a very limited sample size. We saw WrestleMania, and she was very well protected in that match. There was her versus Nia Jax at Money in the Bank, which was better than I think everyone was going to give it credit for and everyone was expecting. Then we saw her match on Raw with Alicia Fox, which was not good. And so that's your sample size. So that being said, going against someone like Alexa Bliss, who people have their critiques over and how she works, what do you think is going to happen in this matchup?
Well, my feeling is that both of these girls are the most invested in by WWE in the last year anyways, even more so than people like Asuka and Charlotte. And I think that, they don't want either one of them to look bad because they want to continue doing something big with both of them, especially going into Evolution. Yeah. But I don't know. I kind of have a feeling that they're going to keep the strap still on Bliss. And something might happen, maybe a turn of some sort to set up an awesome match for Evolution. Maybe that'll be the match finally where Ronda wins the belt or something. We don't know the plans for that pay-per-view at all, and they have to have something big, in my opinion. And why not have Ronda Rousey finally winning that belt on Evolution or something?
See, to tie in with our previous prediction about the SmackDown Women's title, I think that SmackDown should have the babyface chase, kind of like what we have with Becky Lynch chasing Charlotte.
Right.
And so I think it's conceivable you could hot shot the belt on Ronda. Yes, her sample size is limited, and no, she probably isn't the most deserving to win the belt, whatever that means in wrestling. But it's, it's something that I think you could put the belt on her at SummerSlam. So I pick that she's going to win, and you have her going into Evolution as the champion fighting somebody. Doesn't matter who. But I think her being the champion going into this all-women's pay-per-view is going to be a draw.
So, that could be.
So once again, we are at an impasse. You are picking Alexa, and I am picking Ronda Rousey. Moving on to what should be the main event, in all honesty, is Miz and Daniel Bryan. I mean, it's the best feud in the company right now across both brands. They've been going for 8 years on and off, and they're going to have a match here. It probably is not going to be their last match. as far as I'm concerned. But what do you think about the build for this match here?
Well, the anticipation, damn it. I mean, in my opinion, this should have been the return match for Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. I'm kind of surprised that, they had The Miz in a three-way, a triple threat, and Daniel Bryan in a tag team match instead of this one-on-one that they've been arguing on SmackDown forever. Yeah. On top of that, you know what this feud reminds me of? It's like a culmination, man, of Wrestling with Regret in a weird way, because I remember me and you and our Felix Finch roommating together, younger, us, and watching NXT from its inception, the very first one, right there in my living room, and seeing how this all transformed. And I think everybody kind of got behind Daniel Bryan because they were sick of how The Miz was treating him, and just the jealousy and all that, and then him getting fired and now being back and now the neck surgery. It's just a huge culmination, man.
Yeah, it's been like, it is probably one of the most, like, whether it was intentional or not, this is probably one of the best storylines that WWE's concocted in the last 8 to 10 years.
Right.
And so, but I can't imagine it's going to end at SummerSlam. But who do you pick to win this thing?
Daniel Bryan.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Daniel Bryan on this one.
All right. Again, I will have to disagree. I think The Miz is going to win here. He's going to win super dirty. It's going to be super sympathetic, muy simpatico to Daniel Bryan. I'm not sure if I said it right, but you get what I'm saying.
Right.
And I think, this could be an amazing beginning to a culmination at WrestleMania. What I've been seeing some people kind of fantasize about in the booking and everything, and I tend to agree with thinking it'd be awesome, is to have Miz win this first one, and then we find some way to get Miz to be the champion coming into WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan wins the Rumble. Daniel Bryan beats the Miz at WrestleMania. Can that happen? Possibly. Anything's possible. Will it happen? With this company, you never know. But it'd be fun to dream. And so my prediction is the Miz will win this first battle, but he will not win the war. WWE Championship match as AJ Styles, who has a wife named Wendy, not a daughter. I'm sorry I fucked that up and who wore it better. But he is going to be defending the championship against Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe, who's been showing quite the devious edge lately. He's been using family to get in the mind of AJ Styles, getting very personal now. Right. What do you think? Who do you think? Just snap decision. Who do you think is going to win this matchup?
It's not the same match you saw in 2008, so remember that. I think we're going to go with AJ Styles still, just because he just recently, beat that record of, championship holder for however long it was that, I forget, JBL, right?
Yeah.
Had. And so I just think they're going to keep it on him for a little bit longer. I think he's worthy of having the strap.
Yeah, with this, the build with Joe and Styles has been good so far, but it's been very short. It reminds me of the beginnings of the AJ Shinsuke feud, where you thought, oh, this is going to be the culmination, Shinsuke's going to win, and then it just keeps going forever and ever. Right. I don't think the Joe Styles feud, as of right now, is going to go that way forever, but I don't think Joe's going to win this first bout. Like, I've been thinking about it, I've been deliberating. Either he wins the first match and Styles wins a rematch against the championship back, or AJ just wins and then he eventually does the rematch. So, jeez. I mean, yeah, it's like I'm of two minds on it. You know what? I'm just gonna go crazy and say Joe wins. Joe wins the championship. What a time to be alive!
It'd be cool. I would like that.
Just to have Joe and Styles fight for the championship at SummerSlam in WWE. Like 5 years ago, would you ever have seen this happening?
No. But one thing to just consider with the fantasy booking is that Joe I don't think with his injuries he's as reliable as a champion as AJ right now. That's just, I don't know. Maybe not.
Maybe you have a good point there, but I mean, I still think I think it's the possibility of Joe winning here and then losing it in a rematch or sometime down the line.
It's time to pull the trigger if you're going to. But we said that last year with with Lesnar. So.
At this point, I just want to give up predictions. I hate being wrong, Biggs.
You're always going to be wrong.
I hate whiffing on stuff.
Just when you think you have all the questions or all the answers, they've changed all the questions, right?
Yeah. Finally, speaking of pulling the trigger, let's pull the trigger on this Universal Championship reign, shall we? Brock Lesnar defending against Roman Reigns. I pray to God this is not the last match of the night, or this show is going to have the most bonkers feeling. Like, it was surreal being in New Orleans at WrestleMania for this matchup, and how insane the chanting got, and how not invested people were in this matchup here. And that was like 4 months ago or so.
Right.
To do it again here at SummerSlam, like, what do they think people are gonna do when and you're not in, Tupelo, Mississippi. You're not in, South Dakota. You are in Smarkville, New York, and you're gonna have the smartest of smart fans in there, the most cynical fans, packing the Barclays Center, and they are going to shit on this match like a match hath never been shat on before. And I
think Strowman may cash in. That could be the only thing that could save the end of the night if they end it with this.
Maybe somebody will cash in, is my thought. Either you think Strowman, I think Owens. There might be a cash in, or we could just have what Vince McMahon's wanted since WrestleMania 31: have Roman Reigns win the damn thing, become the champion, and just get it over with. So that's all I'm asking. Can we just have Brock ride off into the sunset and fuck off to UFC for a bit, and we can have like Roman Reigns be the champion, and we can just be done with this whole pursuit?
Right. Well, we started off WrestleMania, I think 29, with Del Rio and Edge, right? I mean, why can't we start off the night with Roman Brock, get it over with?
That would be actually interesting to start out. I mean, wouldn't that be funny? Like this whole marquee match that they've built up for years at this point, having the opening match of the show.
At SummerSlam.
I would pop, honestly, if that were the case. I don't think it's going to happen, but, I've been fooled before. Right. So, who do you get winning this thing?
Oh, Jesus.
Like, okay, do you think it's going to be Lesnar or Reigns, or do you think someone's going to cash in?
I just want to say this. I see the value in WWE allowing their champion to actually have the belt on UFC TV if he's going over there. I see that.
Sure.
Because no one's done that before. So they would really establish him as even more dominant. But they got to do something with Reigns, for the love of God. I just don't know what. But my mind tells me Reigns maybe wins, and then Braun cashes in. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I've thought about maybe Heyman aligning with Reigns and that being like the heel turn almost or something.
But they clearly showed you on Monday that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Unless they do some Vince Russo-y double swerve where it's like, that was fake, Mace, I was acting.
Right, right. That would be Vince Russo.
Yeah, you beat me up, but we're still friends and still in cahoots.
Right, no, so I don't think that's going to happen now, but I still think Braun may walk out of SummerSlam with the belt.
Okay, well, I'm going to say Roman wins this stupid thing, and then maybe on the Raw after SummerSlam, we see a cash in. That is my prediction for the match itself. Roman will finally become the champion. The fans will just dump garbage on him. Fade to black. That's going to be the show. I think we got all the matches, Biggs. I mean, it's a long, stacked card. It's going to be a gargantuan show.
I feel like being there would be like our experience at WrestleMania 33 in Orlando.
I'm going to hate myself after watching this show on Sunday. It's going to be so long. But, I'm expecting some good stuff out of this show. I'm hoping to see some surprises, hoping to see some big, you might call them OMG moments. I'm really, I'm always kind of set my expectations for shows low, so I'm always pleasantly surprised when they do the bare minimum of effort. But hopefully, maybe they'll exceed those expectations. We will see what happens.
It's too bad you have to be so on top of things, because this would maybe be a great show for you to watch on your trip over to London.
Yeah, exactly. I wish the timing were different, so I could watch it when I'm on layover or something. But I'm excited about this show. I'm cautiously optimistic things will go in a way that fans will not shit on all the time. So yeah, let us know what you thought, what you think is going to happen at SummerSlam in the comment section below. Absolutely. I'll see you on the other side in the SummerSlam review, probably to come out Monday morning, if not Sunday night. This has been really fun. Good to have you back on the predictions videos. For J Biggs, I'm Brian Zane, and we'll see you next time.